Welcome to Let's Talk. Hi everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Judy here. I'm an everyday person, but I don't worship billionaires nor do I love dictators. I fight for freedom and human rights. And if you don't know, I upload weekly to this series, which talks about history, culture, economics, and more. My friends, before we dive into today's topic, please allow me to thank the friends who bought me coffee from my website last week. Thank you so much for your kind support, my friends. Thank you. My friends, have you ever been bullied? I have. If you've read my non-fiction book, Living with the Walking Dead, you'd know that I was a very shy and quiet child. I was bullied by some students when I was a pupil. If you were bullied by someone in the past, I bet you know that bullies never stop bullying if you don't fight back. You can't stop bullies by giving them what they want. For example, there was a big family whose leader was a fucking bully. He wanted the lands of his neighbors. So he led his family to attack the neighbors one by one. Finally, all his neighbors were forced to join his family and gave them half the money they earned every year. Time went on. Some of the descendants of the neighbors believed that they were a part of the big family, but many others wanted to become an independent family again. So they fought for their freedom, and eventually they earned their independence. However, some years later, one of the descendants of the big family becomes a new bully. It leads his family to attack one of his neighbors, saying that they belong to his family. What would this neighbor do? You guys, remember, you can't stop bullies by giving them what they want. And the Second World War tells us if you indulge a bully, you'll lose more. You know, after the First World War, several new countries were formed. Millions of Germans found themselves are now living in other countries. Hitler wanted to unite all Germans into one nation. In March 1938, Hitler made Austria a part of Germany. The Austrians requested help from Britain, but at that time the leader of the Conservative Party, Arthur Chamberlain, was the Prime Minister of the UK, and Chamberlain wanted peace. Hence, Britain just sent Berlin a strong note of protest. Then the bully Hitler found some excuse to place German troops along the Czech border. Then Chamberlain met Hitler in September 1938, the result of which was an agreement that Britain and Germany would never again go to war. Yes, Chamberlain's foreign policy of appeasement indulged bully Hitler. You know bullies, they never stop bullying other people unless they are being stopped. Hitler wasn't being stopped. In 1939, his army invaded Poland, which marked the beginning of the Second World War. So I say the real reason that led to the World War II was indulging the bully Hitler. What do you think, my friends? So today, my friends, let's talk about tears. If you've subscribed to my other channel, Judy Plus, and watched the video about the benefits of emotional tears, you'd know that shedding tears is good for mental health. If you haven't watched it and would like to know the benefits, please check its link in the description box or the comment section. You see, my friends, crying and expressing sadness is not only good for your mental health, but also considered to be attachment behavior, encouraging bonds and support from friends and family. But unfortunately, in some cultures, boys and men are not allowed to cry. So we often hear phrases like, boys don't cry and be a man in these cultures. I say this is totally sexism because the people in these cultures believe that only women cry, that crying is weak. But women are not weak. Women are strong, strong enough to fight for their human rights. Yes, women cry often, but after crying, they gather themselves together and face their problems bravely. Crying doesn't mean you are weak. On the contrary, it means that you are strong, strong enough to show your real feelings. It means that you are a normal human being, not a f***ing robot. If you are a man living in a culture of toxic masculinity that considers males are seen as being weak or unmanly if they express themselves through crying, please don't feel shame when you're crying because there's nothing to be ashamed about, and you don't deserve to struggle in silence. As you know, my friends, human emotions has to come out in one way or another. If a man needs to express his feelings but suppress or shut down these emotions, he'll convert his sadness to anger and take it out on others or himself. According to some studies, men have high suicide rates. And men being told they cannot cry likely contributes to that. With increased risk of depression, suicide is the leading cause of the death of young males. And in 2022, according to CDC, men made up 80% of suicides. So don't let those obsolete theories control you. Crying is not weak. It only means that you are a normal human being who has a human heart. That you are strong, strong enough to express your true feelings. Don't let those toxic traditional norms get you. Don't shy away from shedding tears if you feel the need to release. It's okay to cry. Hi everyone, Judy here. Thank you for tuning in. Recently, I found that there are some wealthy people, the people at the top, who always tell us, everyday people, that getting a higher education is useless. But is it true? If you are an ordinary person, then it's not true. If you were born in a wealthy family, then it's true. Why? Well, if you were a millionaire parent, you don't need to worry about lacking of money, and you can just do the things that you like to do, and you can still live a comfortable life. But if you were born in an ordinary family, if you need to work hard to live a decent life, then you need to get a higher education, unless you don't wanna live comfortably. You might say, yeah, I know that getting a higher education can change my life, but I don't have the money for it. Well, let me tell you a story. There is a man who was born in an ordinary family. His parents couldn't afford him to have a higher education. So he left home after graduating from high school, becoming a restaurant server in a big city. When he wasn't working, he went to the library nearby to read books. Yes, he educated himself. He used knowledge to arm himself. 2 years later, he became the restaurant's manager, and today he owns a hotel in that city. See, if you can get a higher education, you can still educate yourself. And you might say, I just need to learn some skills. I don't need to read books. Well, it's up to you. But as an everyday person, a person who wants everyday people to live a better life, I suggest you read more and more books, various books. Reading various books that offer different views can give you the ability to think independently, to develop logical thinking and make independent decisions. Don't be fooled by those people at the top who tell you that you don't need to get a higher education. You are not dumb. Read more books or listen to more books on YouTube. I'm sure you'll thank yourself for doing this in the future. Okay, my friends, in case you don't know me yet, I'm Judy Fay London, a fan of Jack London. I'm a published writer who writes fiction and non-fiction novels and short stories. You're very welcome to visit my website, judyfaylondon.com, or Amazon to read my poems and my short stories. The last one, Mr. Rat, Candy the Dog, and so on, and my latest non-fiction book, Living with the Walking Dead, a roadmap for achieving your own success. I hope to see you there, and I thank you so much for your kind support, and thank you very much for subscribing to my YouTube channels, Judy Fay London and Judy Plus. Judy Fay London is a comprehensive channel, while Judy Plus is a channel that talks about interesting scientific discoveries. Thank you for watching, subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting. I wish you nothing but success and happiness. Let's talk next time. Bye.